What's up, YouTube? This is Desto Arts, and this video is basically going to be on just the basics of layers and how they work. This video is mainly for a beginner artist that's just now starting to get into digital art and is really confused and stressed out by layers because art is already stressful enough. So once you get into digital art, it can be a lot more stressful learning layers. But once you learn it, it's a lot easier and it's definitely worth it. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so by the end of this video, the confusion, the hate, and the stress from layers should be gone from all new artists that's starting digital. Okay, that's the goal for this video. I won't get into like anything more complicated besides just layers, but in videos down the road, I'm gonna start doing more tutorials and talk about how Procreate works and just a whole bunch of different ways how I'll be drawing, cartoons and whatnot. So this cartoon right here is just a simple cartoon. You can check out my Instagram. I'm gonna put it somewhere around here. So this is a simple cartoon, and basically what it is a whole bunch of layers put together to make one image. All right, and that's what confuses people the most. So this right here are my layers right here, and this is what people get frustrated from, or artists get frustrated from. And I'm gonna try to clear it all up in this video. But if you got any questions, just leave them down in the comments. I would definitely answer them for you, and either on my Instagram or on here or in the comments. So here we go. So when you first open up Procreate, let me delete that empty one. Whoops. All right, so when you first open up Procreate, you're going to see a couple of pictures that Procreate already made. All right, when you first open it up, but I got plenty of artwork already made already, so they don't really show. So on the top right, you'll see a few options. This plus sign right here is going to create a new canvas. So we're going to hit that plus sign, and you get to select the size canvas that you want. Now you can get screen size, which is going to be the size of the screen, or you can select other ones that they have, but I made custom ones, and I'm going to get into that in later videos as well. So I use this one called Instagram because I customized this to fit in Instagram, and Instagram is like a perfect square. So I basically made a canvas where it's a perfect square, so that way when I draw my image, when I post it, it don't cut off any of my any of the picture that I draw. So we're just gonna use that one. All right, so this is the way I'm gonna explain layers. I never heard nobody explain like this, so hopefully this is a good way to explain it. You gotta think of layers as like clear paper, clear see-through paper. All right, so if you look here at the top, you have your brushes right there, you have your smudge tool and your eraser, and these are your layers, these little box right here. And this on this side is like your tools, which I'm going to get all into on another video. Okay, so we're going to hit the layers option right here, and as you can see, they start you off with one layer and a background color. The background color is not a layer. Okay, it's just a background color, because if you turn it off, and the way you turn it off is by hitting this white box right here with the check mark. You hit that and it turns off, and as you can see, it's literally a clear paper. Okay, because this is without the background. So it's, so if you turn it on, then you can see the background. So that's what I say, you gotta think of it like a clear paper. All right, so you got layer one, and to add a new layer, you hit this plus sign, and now you got two layers, and you can keep on adding as much as you want, and you can have plenty of layers. You can combine all your layers, combine them like this, just pinch them all together. Come on, pinch. It's not working, hold on. There we go. See, that's how you combine them all. Got layer one, so let's say you want to make a picture, right? I'm gonna simplify this just so you can know what layers are and how they work. And what I say is this can apply to other digital softwares. Like I use Procreate. This is Procreate that I'm using. but you may use something else like Adobe or Photoshop, stuff like that. And layers work kind of similar as if they worked on here on Procreate. Let's say I want to make a sketch first. All right, so you want to sketch out your drawing. I'm going to make a simple drawing. It's not going to be no Picasso type work or anything like that. So let's make like a happy face or something quick, because I don't want to make the video too long, because I'm going to be making more. So we're just going to make a simple happy face or whatnot, you know, smiling. All right, put some eyes on there. Boom, got your smiley face. That's your sketch, right? That's on layer 1. Now you say, okay, I like the sketch. Now I like it. I want to start inking it up and make some clean lines. Now you don't want to do it on the same layer, because now if you do, you're gonna have to erase the sketch line. All right. Now some people, if you like a digital painter, like a digital oil painter, they do it all on one layer. Okay, but if you want to get to use layers and you learn how they work, then you know, I'm going to show you how to do that. But some digital painters just paint all on one layer, which is cool. There's no rules to this, but I'm just showing you how they work. So let's make a new layer for my line work. All right, and I want to still see the sketch because I'm going to trace over my sketch, but I don't want it to pop out too much where it interferes with what I'm drawing. All right, so what you do is you go back to layer 1 by clicking it, and it highlights it in blue to which layer you're going to be drawn on or selected. It's going to be highlighted blue so you can tell which one you're on. So we're going to select layer 1, and this little N right here is for your settings. And what you do is, you see where it says opacity, you can turn that down a little bit to make it more transparent as you want. Turn it all the way down, or you can make it halfway, but right here is about fine for me, where I can barely see it, so that way I can draw on top of it. All right, so now let's do our ink. I want to change my ink to black. Let's get my pen out, and I'm going to show you all this brushes and stuff in other videos. All right, so let's start inking this guy up. Put the eyes. You know, you want your clean lines when you're inking, so you gotta make them clean. It's not gonna be a perfect circle, but it's perfect enough for me. And if you want, you can fill in little black areas if you want. And you see how I'm dragging and dropping? You can drag colors and fill in closed gaps. Now I'm gonna get into that later. I ain't trying to confuse y'all and stuff y'all brain with a whole bunch of information in one video, because then y'all gonna forget. And then y'all gonna go to the tablet and gonna be like, hold up, what he say again? And then y'all, yeah, it's just gonna be crazy, because I done been through it. All right, I don't know what that was. Don't remember. All right, let's see. So now you got your ink, right? And this is on layer 2. This is the layer above my sketch layer. And remember, like I said, it's like clear paper. You can still see through it on what's under it. As you can see the sketch, if I turn the opacity back up on layer 1, you can still see the sketch under it, but it's on a different piece of paper. So I can literally just get rid of this paper and it's still got my top layer. So let's undo that, and I undo by tapping 2 fingers on the screen, which is real simple. See, that's the beauty of digital art. It's so easy to fix your mistakes. That's why I suggest digital art to everyone, because it's less stressful when you get to know how to use it. Now that you're happy with your inking, okay, all right, I like that, it's cool. Now I want to start coloring it. All right, you want to start coloring it. All right, so this is what you do. When you add a new layer, it's always going to add a new layer on top of the layer that you selected. So I selected layer 1, which is blue, the blue sketch, and it's blue. So add a new layer, and it's going to make it on top of the layer I selected, but it's still under my ink layer, and that's what you want. All right, now let's say you accidentally just create a new layer on top of your sketch layer. You can tap and hold and drag under any layer that you want. So when you're coloring, you always want to put it under your ink layer, because if you do put it on top, then of course, like I said, you're going to be coloring on top of your black lines, which you don't want. It's going to be super hard. You can do that, but why make life harder when you can just easily color over it or under it without affecting the line work. So you got to go all the way in between the lines and stuff and try to get over it. No, it's gonna take hours. Okay, with digital art you can make shortcuts, so we're gonna do that. So now let's drag that layer under my line work. So now what you can go ahead and do is fill it in. I don't know why I chose orange. It was just on there, but we're gonna roll with it. All right, so we're gonna fill that in as best as possible. Yeah, boom. Kind of went outside the line, so we're just gonna erase that. Boom. All right, so we got our flat color. Now you can name your layers. So if you tap on it, you're gonna get all these options. You gonna hit rename, and I'm gonna name this the flat color, which is my base color without shading. All right. So now you got 3 layers. Now, I mean, honestly, we don't really need this sketch layer anymore. So we can really just delete it. And by the delete it, slide to the left, got 3 options: lock, duplicate, delete. So we're gonna delete because we don't need it. So now we got our flat color and our line work. So now you want to add some, okay, I like that color. I want to add some shading to it, make it look more 3D. You can do that by doing this. So I have to pay attention. Make a new layer, still under my line work, because you don't want to color over that. Just always remember that if you don't want to color over something or draw over something, put it under that layer. Okay, put it under that layer. So now you make a new layer, and you want to shade this part, right? You want to shade the color, not the line work. So let's get my airbrush out. Yes, I'm gonna show you all this cool stuff later. I know I'm doing a lot of stuff, but I'm gonna show you that later. But right now we're just gonna learn layers. So let's say you make it darker and put your hue in there. Boom. Grab your airbrush. I'm gonna just shade with an airbrush. All right. Dang, it's kind of going outside the lines. Why is that? Oh, gotta erase now. See, I'm gonna show you a trick to not have to erase when you color outside the lines. Color outside. Oh crap! I waste too much. Now you gotta go back. See, that's just too difficult. I'm gonna show you easy way to color. So you want to color on top of this. Make a new layer, right? And what you do is you go back to the flat color layer, select it by tapping the layer, and you can get these options, and you hit select. There's an option right here where it says select. You hit that, and now it's only selected the orange part, which is the flat color. Now you can go into a different layer that you have created and color it without affecting the outside of whatever you selected. So now I can color out here, and it won't do nothing, right? But if you hit the part you selected, then it's going to whoops. See, look, I was on erase, my bad. Look, so it's not coloring outside. So now you can literally just color without no stress, trying to stay inside the lines. It's real good for shading. And you be like, okay, I like that. See, now your shading is on that 3rd layer. It's like, okay, I like that. I like the shadows. Now I want to add highlights. Now you make a new layer. You could put it on the same layer, but let's say you don't like the highlight. You want to be able to delete it or erase it without erasing your shadows. So just to be safe, make a new layer, and make sure it's on top of your shadows and on top of your flat, but under your line work, because you don't want to color over the line work. All right, so let's make a brighter color. Okay, and now do the same thing. Make sure this flat color is selected on top of your color and your shadow, but under your ink. And now you just go ahead and fill in the highlights where you want the highlights. Look at that. This is a horrible shot. I mean, it's alright, but I could do better. But I'm not gonna justify what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to show y'all layers. So now you got your highlights. Now you can name them, of course. Rename highlight layer. Boom. Then let's rename the shadow. Boom. Now if you want to get fancy, you can add more layers if you want. So add another highlight layer, make a deeper highlight. Or let's say you want to add another shadow. You can make another shadow layer on top of your other shadow layer. You just keep on going until the picture is how you want it. And you know, I love layers because, like I said, if you make a mistake, you can delete that layer. All right, so now let's say if you combine all these layers together, then it's gonna be hard to fix your mistakes because you're gonna have to worry about messing up the orange and the back and all that stuff. But you know, when you have them separate, it's easy to fix them. All right, so that's basically the basis of layers. And you know, I can keep on going on and on. And let's say I made another layer on top of my ink to make some highlights on the eyes or whatever. You can do that. See, want some highlights in the eyes. Got your highlights. But you can't do that nowhere else because now, see how it's going to color over the black lines. Oh wait, see, I still have my orange layer selected, so it wasn't gonna color outside the orange, but it's still on top of my ink layer. So let's say I brought those highlights under my ink, it's gonna disappear because it's hidden under the black ink layer. Okay, so that's basically how layers work. Now we can go back to the image I did, or that I showed you, which is right here, and you can see how my layers are. So let's turn off all my layers. I should have organized this for y'all. I'm gonna turn off all my layers for a second and show you how I did it. So I had a sketch, but I deleted that sketch because I didn't need it. So I outlined the sketch in blue to clean it up, to make it look real nice. And the reason why I do blue is because it shows me that I'm not really sure if I like that line work, and if I wanted to change something, I'll change it in red on top on another layer. Like if I didn't like the eye, I would make another layer, make red, and kind of draw another eye on top in red so I can see both options. But that's just me personally. I could have did it in black, but I didn't. So let's say I like this blue sketch. What I did was I made another layer and I filled it in. I selected my my blue layer and I traced it over in black to make them black. Because remember, when you select the layer, the marks you make does not go outside the lines that you made. Alright, so I turned off all the layers. Okay, so that way I can show you how I did it. So I made an ink layer. Now this is all sloppy and mixed up right now, but so I really wouldn't pay attention to this because it's not really in order. But I'm just gonna show you right here and explain the process how I did it. So I have my ink. I made it in blue because I wasn't sure if I really wanted to go with it for sure. So I made it in blue and then traced it over in black. Alright, so now I wanted the color. So I made another layer with just my flat. So for her face. And then, whoops. And then another flat with her hair. And then, see, I make a new layer each time I have a different color. Let's say like that, because I always want to go back and see if I wanted to change a certain part of the picture. So I made a new layer for each color that I had. Now this is my style of work that y'all see on Instagram and everything. So you can use, there's no rules to layers. This is how I use layers. And hopefully, you know, you get what layers are after this video. And then I made a shadow for the shirt because the background's already white. So I didn't need to color her shirt white, but sometimes you can if you want to. Then I filled in her white in her eyes, and then top lip, the bottom lip. So I went ahead and colored the shadow in her lip already, because I knew I wouldn't have to change that, so I mixed those two together, the shadow and the lip together. So the top lip shadow right there. Some highlights. Now I usually do my shadows first, so this was my shadow layer that I added, and it's on top of my flat color. And if you want to pause this and look at it, you can. Then add a little airbrush to fade out the shadow where the highlight is a little bit. Add some highlights on the lip, shadow under the eyes, another layer, and as you can see, it's on top of the white layer, so for the eyes. So every section of the picture that you're drawing is gonna have a new layer. Okay, then the highlights in the cheek, shadows in the hair a little bit, some more shadows in the hair for the braids, then the highlights in the eye. Now the eye, I inked the eye in, so I had to go on top of my ink layer to make the highlights in the eye, because if I put it under my ink layer, the ink layer is right here. This is my ink layer, so if I drag it under, you can't see it, so it has to be on top to see it. So that's how layers work. It's just clear pieces of paper that you can see through, that you draw on, put on top of each other. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this video, you know. So hopefully you understand layers now, and if you got any questions, things you want to see in the future, and just leave them in the comments, or you know, give me a DM on Instagram. You know, I'm pretty active on there on both, so you know, I'm always gonna respond. So yeah, that's about it for the video. I appreciate y'all for watching. You know, leave a like, subscribe, because you know, if you're watching me, why not subscribe? You know, I wouldn't do you like that, so just go ahead and subscribe. You know, that's if you like artwork. You know, if you like seeing my work, seeing tutorials and all that good stuff, just go ahead and subscribe and like, and leave a comment what you want to see in the future. All right, so I'm out. Y'all have a good one. Peace out.